So we're doing power-ups. With power-ups, we're going to do an elongation and a slow ball. As we said in our game design document, elongation is going to make the bat longer for a short period of time. We decided on 10 seconds. And slow ball is just going to return the ball to the original speed, which is what we set up yesterday when we did the speed up. The whole point of setting things up like we did yesterday was to set it up for today so that we could do the power-ups a lot easier. We're not going to get to the power-ups and implementing them. We're just going to create the power-up object and sprite, randomly choose which power-up we get. And if we have time, I'd like to also get it randomly dropping from bricks. That's so we can actually see what's going on. So, without further ado, but because my computer shut down a little while back, I'm going to open Game Maker Studio 2. It's going to be a little bit. So we're going to start with creating a new sprite. When we create the new sprite, we're going to create two pill-like images. They're both going to be in the sprite, so it's going to be 2 frames of the same sprite. Okay? My thought is that we just simply make them a pill-looking object with the letter that represents that power-up in there. So we'll have an E for elongation, an S for slow ball. Okay? And we'll just draw those. We won't actually use text to draw those. We'll just draw those ourselves. So, this is the one that's mine. I'm going to open it. Here it goes. There we go. And then I might adjust some of the... Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this so that we get this. All right. We're going to add a new sprite. Okay. This is SPR power up. And I'm capitalizing both my P in power and my U in up. Okay. We're going to resize this. We're going to make this the same size as the brick. So when I click resize and I click resize canvas, the brick, remember, is 32 by 16. So we're going to change the canvas to 32 by 16, just like the brick. Width is 32, height is 16. I'm going to apply that right now. And then I'm going to click Edit Image to open the image editor. Okay? So, one of the things I haven't pointed out before in the image editor is up here. This is the set of frames at the top of the screen. Now when you draw in here, it's going to appear up here. All I have to do to add a new frame is click the plus. But I'm not going to do that yet, and here's why. I want to make my life easy. To make my life easy, if these two things are going to look almost exactly the same, the only difference is going to be we're putting an E on one and an S on the other. And if we want to change color, I guess we could. But that's also an easy fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my frame first, and then when I add a new frame, I'm going to add a duplicate frame rather than a new blank frame. So to draw my pill, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to make circular sides, and then we're going to connect along the top and the bottom with straight lines. So basically I'm going to make 2 circles, and then I'm going to connect those circles with straight lines. So I'm going to click on my ellipse tool outline, click that, and we're going to click and drag an ellipse from the corner, but I'm only going to drag and make a circle. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to choose black and not white. Okay. Now, one trick you can do to make sure you always draw a perfect circle is to press and hold the shift key while you draw. So if I press and hold shift and then I click and drag, I always get a circle no matter what, even if I get way off. So if I go down here to where I'm definitely at the bottom, this is a circle. Right? So now I let go of the let go of the mouse button, and it draws my perfect circle. I'm going to draw another one. I'm going to start up here though and draw it holding shift again, so that I get a perfect circle again. Okay. And then I'm just going to draw a line, so I'm going to click on the line tool. And I'm just going to draw lines across the top. Line there, line there. Whoops. Missed it. There we go, line there. And then I'm going to go back with the erase tool, and I'm going to erase all the black stuff inside. That way I can get rid of all that stuff. Because inside I want it to be a nice open area. And now I should just pick a color that's a nice color. I'm using green for the bat. I'm using yellow for the ball. Maybe we'll use, I don't know, red for the pills. What do you think? Red okay? Alright, I'm going to choose my fill tool. Choose this red here if you're following along with me. And then I'm going to click inside the pill to add the red fill to that. Okay, so I'm going to click on the paintbrush tool to prepare myself for what comes next, and I'm going to prepare with a black. Okay? So, you can make it whatever color you want. Okay? I made it red. For those following along exactly with me, I made it red, so there you go. Okay, so now, drawing. So, we want to draw. I want to draw a letter in the middle. I'm going to leave 1 pixel of space on the top and the bottom. But I want to draw it approximately in the middle. I want to draw it right in the middle as best I can, right? So if I put my cursor up over here, do you see how there is, in the lower left corner, you should see coordinates. Okay? You'll notice that those coordinates, when you go to the upper left corner, say 0, 0. That's because computers like starting with 0. Just the way it is. So what that means is that if I wanted to get to the exact center of this, knowing that it's 32 pixels wide, I'm going to go over until I get to 15, which is there. Now, because this is 16 pixels wide, there is not 1 pixel that's the center, there are 2. Because it can be broken into 8 and 8. So, 15 and 16 are the 2 horizontal pixel values that I'm going to use to center things. Okay? And then I'm going to come down here and give myself 1 pixel of space. Right? So now I'm going to decide how wide do I want my letter to be. Keeping in mind and knowing that the very middle of my sprite is 2 pixels wide. So I should use an even number. How about 6? Or it's either going to be 6 or 8 wide. What do you think? 6 wide it is. Okay. So, right? I'm going to write an E first. So, 15 and 16 are the 2 middles. So, 15, 16, those are the 2 middles. So, if I'm doing, we said 6, right? So, I'm doing, I already clicked to add those 2 pixels. I'm going to click and add 2 pixels on either side of that. So, there's 2 more on this side, 2 more on this side. Okay? So, that is 6 pixels wide. Alright, to make an E, I'm going to go to the left side and I'm going to draw all the way down until I'm 1 pixel away from the other side. What? This vertical is actually at 13 because I started in the middle with 15, 16. And then I'm going to draw the other part of my E. So, now here's my dilemma. Here's one of my dilemmas. One, some people draw their E's with a middle line that goes all the way out to the edge. Some people draw them with a middle line that doesn't quite go as far out. Okay? But also, because this sprite is also only 8 pixels tall, 16 pixels tall. Right, we're 32 wide, 16 pixels tall. 16 pixels tall, same problem I have. I have 2 pixels in the middle. So whether I go all the way to the edge or not, I have to choose which one to go with. Usually I'm going to go with the higher one. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to go and I'm just going to do a total of 3 pixels from the vertical line. Now, I'm looking at this and I say, I'm not too jazzed about it, to be honest. I would like it to be a little more pronounced, a little bit thicker, so I'm going to actually double the lines. So I'm going to go inside, I'm going to double the line here. I'm going to double the line down. I'm going to double the line here. Oops. Let me fix that. And then I'm going to double the line in the middle. Oh, that looks better. I like that. I can always go one more here if I wanted. I don't like that. There. So there we go. Now I've got my first one done. My first pill is done. I could click this and add a new one. I don't want to do that. I'm lazy. I don't want to do that. I'm going to right click on this one. And I'm going to say copy. And then I'm going to right click over here and I'm going to click paste. That way I've just created a duplicate. Right? I could also have gone up to image, and I think it's image. Maybe not. Tools. And then we're going to erase the E. The easy way to erase the E, though, is to use the fill tool and red, and just color it red. Right? And then I'm going to change this. Whoops, I changed the wrong one, though. Ha. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. There we go. So we're going to change the E to an S. So the S is a little more challenging. Okay? Because I don't know about anybody else. I like my S's to be nice and curvy. I don't like the hard. It looks too much like a 5 if I do it that way. So, you ready for this? It'll be okay. We'll be okay. Because here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make this double thick as well. So I'm on, you notice I'm on 15.2. I'm going to make my 2 in the middle. Okay? And then I'm going to make 4 in the middle, actually, because I know I'm going to double this up. Okay? I'm going to add another row here and another row there. And then I'm going to add these 3 pixels like this. So it's still 6 pixels wide. And I'm going to start going this way. But now I can start down on the, right, this is the top of the S. I'm curving around. Right? And what I can do is I can come down here to the bottom and I can mirror image that. Right? Because that's kind of what an S is, right? It's a mirror image of each other. So if I do this, do that, do that. This one, I'm going to stop here. This one. So now I need to get it. I need to connect from here to there, which is just a matter of doing some diagonal-ish stuff like this. Oops. Too much. Okay. Now, I could do it straight like that. That's an option. I could also take these further out and make it more of a flat sort of S. As long as yours looks like an S, I think it's okay. And I like this way this looks, so I'm going to stick with it. So if you want to flatten your S out, you could. Right? When I say flatten the S out, what it means, and I'll show you, and I'll just fix it later here. So what I would do to flatten it out would be to go one more, and then do something like this. Maybe not like that. That would be like a flattened out S. I don't like it. I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to go back to what I had earlier, which was the angled S. Okay. Alright. At this point, I'm ready to create my object. Okay. So, it is important to note, again, that we count starting at 0 when it comes to computers, and this is typical. Okay, are we ready to go and actually do the object? So I need to create a new object. Oh, I guess I could close this. Okay. Oh, important note. Because before I create the object, because the pill comes from a brick, I'm going to leave the origin as top left because it's the same as the origin of the brick. Otherwise, it would look really weird having the brick break and having the power-up look like it's coming from the edge of the brick. We want the power-up looking like it's coming out of the brick as if it was contained inside of it and just needed to be broken. So, here we go. We need to create a new object. Right-click, create object. Okay. OBJ power-up. Select the power-up sprite. Now, even though we know our sprite is multi-frame, the multi-frameness of the sprite doesn't matter because it's going to always show only one image of the sprite. Okay? We have to choose which frame it's going to show. So even though this shows the E, that's because it's the first frame of the sprite. Yes. Yes. P is capital, U is capital. Okay. So now, we need to add the create event. Add event, create. And this is where we're going to do our randomizing. So we're first, of course, if we're going to do randomization, we're always going to want to start with a randomize. So, I'm going to... Yes. First thing, we want to do a randomize button, or randomize command. Now, after the randomize, we're going to choose a random number. Okay? But this time, I want an integer. Because I want to choose either image 0 or image 1. So, randomize first, get random number second. Mind you, we're choosing between 0 and 1. This is amounting to a coin flip. We're flipping a coin at the beginning and saying, if it's tails, give me the elongation. If it's heads, give me the whatever. Okay? So, target is going to be image. So you notice there's all these built-in variables, but there's no image built-in variable, and that's okay. Okay? This is going to choose a number between 0 and 1. Well, it's going to choose either 0 or 1. And then it's going to use that value to change the image to the correct power-up. So, I'm going to leave it as image. I'm going to click temp because I only want it long enough to set the image, and then I'm going to be done. Okay. Now I need to scroll up. Scroll, scroll, scroll. I want to use the set instance variable. Click, drag. And the instance variable I'm setting is the index, or the image index. And then the value is the image variable. So, set instance variable, image index, choose the image value, or the value is image. Okay? So I've randomized, I'm getting a random number between 0 and 1. Okay? Now, what we can do, we can't actually test this. Not relative. Because we're setting it straight up, we're not adding or subtracting from it. Okay. We can test this. We can just go into the room. Right? We can go into the room, we can add a power up and see what happens. Nothing's going to happen with it right now because we're... But we can at least see if it... And we could actually put multiple power-ups to make sure that it's going to show different power-ups depending on when it appears. So I'm going to run... I just want to see that the power-up chooses one of the two options when it creates itself. Okay? And that the image we are shown... That's interesting. I see that. Oh, I know what it is. Haha. I know what's going on. Okay, so here's the deal. When there's a multi-frame image, the assumption is you are making an animation. Therefore, we need to have the animation roll, right? The animation is going to roll no matter what. So what we need to do is we actually need to set a different, we need to set the animation speed to 0, basically is what we need to do. So I'm going to go back to the power up. I'm going to add another set instance variable, and it's going to be, where's it at? Is that it? No, it's not there. Never mind. Never mind, I'm not going to set that. I'm going to add, it's another block then. I thought it was an instance variable. It's actually a block. So, it's this block right here. Set animation speed. So, just to play it safe, I'm going to set the animation speed before I set the instance variable. So I'm going to put it up here. We're going to set the animation speed to 0. That will stop. That will keep the animation from, or keep the game from rolling the animation. And it should allow me to see one or the other. So set the animation speed to 0. Then, there we go. So see, now I see 2 E's and an S. I should see it differently if I load it again. Okay? We want that randomly showing only one image. In order to only show one image, we need to stop the animation and then randomly choose which one. All right. At this point, I've gotten to the point that I want to get to. But it would be nice to go ahead and do the it would be nice to do the next part of it, which is to get the power up to drop from a brick. Okay? So, what that means though is we need to do 2 things. One, in the create event, we're going to make the power up start going down the screen. That's what step 1. Step 2, we go to the brick, and in the brick we're going to randomly, every time that we break a brick, we're going to randomly choose a number, and then based on whatever number we get, we're going to drop it, or we're going to choose whether we're dropping or not. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the power up real quick. We're already in the create event. That's fine. The only other thing we need to do is we need to set the vertical speed. So we're going to go find the set speed. Right? We want movement. There it is. We want to set speed. Change it to vertical speed. And then I'm going to do 3. So this will take it down, right? Vertical speed, right? It's going to drop at 3. Okay? I can always adjust this if I need to, if I feel like it's too fast to where the player can't get to it in time. I can always adjust it. Okay, so step 1 done. Step 2, go to the OBJ brick. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go. So we could do this. I could do this in one of 2 ways. One way would be I could go to the impact with the OBJ ball, and I could add it there. I actually think I'm going to create a new event. I'm going to add the destroy event, because there is such a thing. So we're going to add event, add the destroy event. And we're going to, this is helping me really process this. Because I think about it, when the brick is destroyed, we want to choose a random number. And then based on that random number, decide which one of those values will cause a drop of a power-up. So, I'm going to use the destroy event to do that. I'm going to add a randomize first. And then under the randomize, I'm going to add, yes, you guessed it, a get random number. Change it to integer. Now, what are the odds that we want to give the player of getting a power-up? 1 out of 2 seems a little high to me. 1 out of 3 is better. And we could, again, this is another thing we can always choose to change if we want to. So here we go. So I'm going to change the maximum of 1 to a maximum of 2. Okay. And then I'm going to call this power up. So all I did was change the maximum to 2. I did change the type to integer. And I'm going to call this power up. And it's going to be a temporary variable just like last time. So if it's 1 out of 3, what that means is that I'm giving 3 options, 0, 1, or 2. And I need to choose one of those to trigger the power up dropping. I just decided to do it that way. It really doesn't matter how you do it as long as you are consistent. Okay? I want to keep that in mind. So now we need an if statement. If variable. So, here's my thing. Whoops. I'm lazy. You notice what the default values of the if variable block are? Equal to and 0. I might as well leave it. That's 1 out of 3, right? 0 is one of the 3 choices. Therefore, if it's equal to 0, which it could be, let's drop we're going to drop a power-up, which really means we're going to create an instance of the power-up at my position. So, I need to scroll down and find that one. This is this one here. So we're going to create an instance. Add a create instance. Oops, add it to the right-hand side, though. There we go. The object I want is the power-up. For the X and Y, I'm just going to click the to relative button, or the to relative boxes. Here's why. If I go 0 pixels away from where the brick is, it's just going to drop where the brick disappeared at, right? Which is what we want, like visually what we want to see. So we're going to create it, we're going to create the instance at the same spot as the brick. Click the two relative boxes. Now, if we play, we should see power-ups randomly appearing. There it is. I can't collect it because I haven't done anything with collection. But at least they're appearing randomly, roughly every third time. So, again, it's still going to be randomizing, so it could drop. But so that's it for now.